Hi there, young Ed. Why you looking so glum, chum?
Oh, disembodied narrator voice. I'm just sad because all the whiskeys I drink aren't pretentious, exclusive, and expensive enough.
Come on, buddy. There's plenty of exorbitantly priced scotch out there. Or maybe some bourbon on the secondary sold by a price-gouging, spineless, back-birth motherfucker.
I don't know. Those sure are expensive, but everybody knows about them now. I need something new and cool to impress the other whiskey douchebags. Otherwise, they're just gonna think I'm some basic bitch who drinks things because they taste good.
Well, what if there was an entire category of whiskey that has become stupidly unattainable and expensive overnight? A foreign one that you can be even more conceited about than scotch.
Well, gee, that sounds great. But does such a thing even exist?
Haha, it sure does, Ed. It's called Japanese whiskey, and it's the hottest new trend since jacking off into a clown nose while choking yourself. But we can't have people thinking you only just discovered it now, can we?
No, no, we cannot, sir. I have to be twice as much of a know-it-all jerk as everyone else.
That's right. So let me show you how to pretend to like Japanese whiskey. Japanese whiskey owes its popularity to two men, Masataka Taketsuru and Shinjiro Tori. As a young man, Taketsuru journeyed to Scotland to learn the art of distilling at Longbourn and Bo'ness. When he returned to his native land, he was approached by Tori to begin the first true Japanese whiskey distillery, what would one day be Suntory. They had one goal in mind, a clear goal, a noble goal, a beautiful, expressive, amazing goal. Which was to basically just make scotch, but in Japan. Wait, what? Yup, Japanese whiskey is very much made in the style of Scotch whiskey, right down to making double distilled single malts and blends of malts and grain. Much like mid-priced automobiles and video games, the Japanese took something invented in the West and made it better. So much better that they can charge you your firstborn child for a bottle. Taketsuru was so dedicated to making a Japanese scotch that when the environs around the Suntory distillery proved to not be Scottish enough, he started his own distillery called Nika in Hokkaido, which is essentially the Scotland of Japan. The Japanese make a very good version of the rotten-ass swamp bog whiskey from Scotland, but more importantly, it was new and intriguing, so spirits drinkers lost their goddamn minds and started buying it all up, leading to the scarcity of today.
Well, if it's just scotch, then I already know how to pretend to like it. Because I watched this video right here. No, seriously, go watch that video, you pricks.
Uh-oh, not so fast there, Ed. You don't ever want to point out how similar they are, because otherwise, why would you pay so much extra for bottles of it? You need to pretend that this stuff is really, really special and amazing so you can make all your friends jealous. You need to devote yourself fully to the Japanese whiskey hype, and the best way to do that as a stupid Westerner is to go full whiskey weeaboo. Step 1. Make sure to get incredibly offended at anyone who thinks that Japanese whiskey is just Scotch 2.0.
Oh, sure, I get it, so I should just go around yelling things like, "Oh my god, no! The environment of glorious Nippon is so much better for whiskey making than Scotland. I can't believe you would compare the diamond of the East to that cold, dismal little rock."
Now you're catching on. Step 2 is to make up a bunch of tasting notes that you swear you can find in Japanese whiskey, but insist exist in no other whiskey. Most whiskey weeaboos stick to the most stereotypical Japanese things in existence, because, let's face it, they're just not that imaginative. These are things like cherry blossoms, incense, sandalwood, the steel of a katana in the light of a harvest moon, and Hikaru Sulu's nutsack.
Yeah, that makes sense. Your tasting notes should convey that you have absolutely no grasp of Japanese culture whatsoever, really don't know how to taste whiskey, and also that you're kind of just an ignorant racist American.
Damn skippy, young Ed. Now let's talk about step 3, creaming your pants over Mizunara.
The hell's a Mizunara?
Mizunara is a type of oak found only in Japan, and just like how the excitement about Japanese whiskey is because it's so damn rare, so too is the fanfare about Mizunara driven by its unavailability and perceived exotic nature. You remember all those Easternish tasting notes we mentioned before?
Do I ever?
Make sure you double down on those whenever you see Mizunara on the bottle.
Sure will, and I'll tell everyone that any time in Mizunara makes any whiskey better. And they'll believe me, because it sounds unconventional and expensive.
And it will be expensive, believe you me. Are you ready to drop almost $300 on 12-year-old malt? Or even $5,000 on an 18-year-old?
I sure am. I'm gonna bankrupt myself buying whiskey I'll probably never drink. Also, people never have to know how unsure of myself I am.
Perfect. You're almost ready to start blowing your life savings on bottles of Japanese whiskey.
Oh boy, I sure am excited.
Here's a warning for you though. Not every Japanese whiskey is actually Japanese.
Wait, what? How is that possible?
The Japanese government lets distilleries import foreign distilled whiskey and blend it there. Then they just slap the word Japanese on the label. Trust me, if any of your douchey whiskey friends sees you drinking one of these for even a second, the jig will be up and they'll tear you to shreds.
But how am I gonna know the difference?
I don't know. That sounds like a you problem. Goodbye, everybody!